to take notes on page 51, which has to do with substituting for variables when the number that you want to substitute is a negative number. That's a little bit more of a challenge because what we really have to do is make sure that we get the parentheses in place. Otherwise, we might be tempted not to write the negative sign. That's going to make a mistake. So when you have a variable, remember, if it doesn't have any coefficient at all, it actually has a coefficient of 1. And if it just has a minus sign in front of it, it means the opposite of, for example, x, or negative 1 times x. And we're going to have to use that when we take notes on page 51 and make sure that we use the order of operations properly. So let's fill in. We're going to start with x equals negative 1. This would work for any negative number. Okay, but what we're going to do first is we're simply going to fill in. Okay, we're going to fill in negative 1 in parentheses where the x was. So in place of the x, we're going to write negative 1 in parentheses. It's important to put it in parentheses so we get the order of operations right. So for the first one, it's just negative 1. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 1, okay? Plus negative 1 is negative 2. This one in parentheses is negative 1 squared. So we're going to do negative 1 squared first. That's negative 1 times negative 1. That gives us 1. Then we're going to add 1, and we're going to get positive 2. Here it gets a little trickier. You might be tempted to say, oh, there's already a negative sign there, but there's not. There's an opposite sign there. That's the opposite of x. We don't know what it is yet. If we're going to put in negative 1, we have to say, oh, that really means negative 1 times whatever we put in. So it's going to be negative 1 times negative 1. We'll do that first in the order of operations, and then we'll add 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, plus 1 is 2. Let's deal with negative x squared. Again, that's negative 1 because it's the opposite of x squared. Negative 1 times negative 1 squared plus 1. Now, under the order of operations, what do we do first? Do we do multiplication or do we do exponents? We do exponents first under GEMDAS. So this is going to be 1, and it's going to be negative 1 times 1 or negative 1. So we're going to get negative 1 times 1 plus 1 or negative 1 plus 1. And that's going to give us 0. All right, let's do a couple more examples. All right, again, we'll fill in, replace x with negative 1 in parentheses so we keep our negative sign straight. Now, this one is negative 5x plus 1. Coefficient is negative 5, so that means negative 5 times negative 1, which is positive 5 plus 1 is going to give us 6. This is negative 5 times negative 1 squared. We do GEMDAS first. We do exponents. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. So this is negative 5 times positive 1 is negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. This is for subtract x. X is negative 1. Make sure you write it in parentheses so you remember that you have subtraction and then a negative number. That's 4 plus 1. You do keep, change. And that's going to be 5. Finally, for subtract x squared. We substitute negative 1 for x in parentheses. We realize that we have to do exponents first to get 4 subtract positive 1, and that's going to give us 3. Okay, make sure you get these notes in your notebook on page 51.